Well, good morning. It is Friday, and we are at the end of August. We are finally Friday today. And you're finally Friday as you look back at the week, past and present, looking back as well. What challenges have you faced? Feel free to call in and tell us all about the challenges. It costs you nothing to call in for those of you who are in the United States. When we think of challenges, we think of something that's going to take a little effort. It's going to take work because it's a challenge. It's something that we put ourselves through to be able to not only face it, but to deal with it. And today we're going to be talking about breakthroughs. We are here with you all. So we'd love for you to come and sound off or just come and be part of our beautiful audience. So how do we sound off? How do we do it, ladies and gentlemen? Or excuse me, how do we break through? Well, that's what we're going to learn today about sounding off and breaking through. We're here with you. So, when you break through something, you're forcing it. And we're going to be talking about levels of breakthrough, breaking through different things. Do you find it hard to be able to break through yourself? Break through yourself. Being honest with yourself. Understanding that you can reach the best of yourselves. And I want you to think about breaking through yourself because you can reach the best of yourself. And I would love to have you guys think about working hard, working well toward yourself. We're going to be facing that today. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. We're live. And please know that we're live. And as we're live, we want you to talk about how you feel. How you feel. And we want you to be able to share with us your breakthroughs. Now, as we look at breakthroughs, what are breakthroughs? What exactly is a breakthrough? And I want you to think about it. And as you break through something, if you're coming in to my co-host I'm speaking to, you must do that one more time because it's not allowing me. So could you please retry? Thank you so much. When we are breaking through, I want you to think about the definition of making a forced way because of a barrier in your life. When you think about the sun breaking through the clouds, you've seen that. Everyone's seen that. So you want to be the sun to any cloud that you might be experiencing. And we all from time to time have experienced more cloudy days than others. Thank you for joining, Romeo. And so, how do we do it? What is the key to helping us? Well, you're going to find that out today. How do we break through ourselves? The best thing to do is to help yourself through personal development. How many of you are working on personal development? Something that may have been a cloud in your life and you are wanting the sun to break through. Well, many of us have or have at one time experienced that. We have experienced wanting to be the sun instead of letting the cloud overshadow what has happened or what is happening in our lives. How many of you have limited yourself? Are we those type of people who limit ourselves? And if you're thinking about it, what have you limited yourself with? Presently or in the past, you limited yourself. Something that held you back. And so as we think about that, can you and will you? Can you or will you? So let's think about this, okay? Just 1 second. Thinking about breakthroughs that we've had in our lives. What was the last thing that you had a breakthrough with? What was the last thing? And as you are thinking about it, as you're thinking about your breakthroughs, we're going to talk about what you've had to break through. As I ask that question, because I just asked that question, you have heard that people are troubled from having to break through. When you break through, you have great for yourself achievement. And we all want to achieve. We all want to achieve, right? Let me ask you right now. What is your way of thriving? How do you thrive? We all want to thrive. We all want to just keep flowing as life presents all of its challenges. We want to keep going. And we will not settle for anything less, no matter what it is. How do I break through? You say. How do I break through? How do I break through? What do I need to do? Well, in every game that we've ever played as children, there was always a strategy. Let's think about the games. Life, Payday, Monopoly, Go Fish, War. Do you remember those games? What was the one strategy that we had to think of? What was the one strategy that we had to think of? That, let me give you a minute to think about it. And when we learn the strategy to life, Monopoly, War, Go Fish, all those games, we learned the strategy. What was the strategy? Anybody know? Anybody know? Good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
So the strategy to life's games that we played was to win. We needed to keep the other opponent from winning, right? Or we wanted to win. In the adult game of life, we want everyone to win. So our strategy must be to do what? Succeed. Challenges require that you and I succeed. You must think about it. How do you want to achieve more quickly your challenges? We think about strategies. You can probably think about something that you had to overcome. What did you first do, and how did you do it? There are so many ways to do something. A strategy is a way to do something, a way to how to do it. And that's what we have to figure out. How do we face life's challenges and get that breakthrough? By the way, today's podcast is breaking through. There are so many ways. Many people have strategies as to losing weight. Many join fitness clubs. They have health coaches, training videos, books. So what do you think? How can we learn? Sometimes your story may be everyone's story. How do I mean that? Your story, when you tell yourself why you can or why you cannot do something in your life, it's how you see it. But did you know by sharing your story that other people see themselves in your story? How many stories have ever been told to you in life and you have seen yourself? And when you perceive yourself, you have a story to tell. Your story of strategy can help someone else achieve what you believe about yourself, what your core belief is. We work with that. I don't know if you guys have noticed that in here, but we work with core beliefs, your inside beliefs about yourself. You know, some people think they're fat. Some people think they're ugly. Some people think they're dumb. It's about the way you see yourself. And do you know how you get to the root of the issue about yourself? You start to understand why you feel that way. How many of you now understand why you may have felt that way. Maybe you didn't understand it in the past. Now you have a breakthrough as to what. Now you understand. Aha, I get it. It's as if a light has turned on in a very dark room. How many of you now get it? As to why you may have believed those things about yourself. I
I
get,
do.
I get it. And it's helped me. Thank you so much. It's helped me to be able to come to you and share my story of breakthrough. How has it helped you, Trish?
It's helped me balance my thoughts towards how I really feel about myself versus the lies I tell myself, because I know where the motivation of those thoughts come from, and it's from like my past and me being bullied and stuff like that. And so it kind of programmed itself into my head of like me being insecure about me always being my worst critic. And the more that I'm working on myself, the more I'm trying to figure out, okay, that's what they said about me, but what do I believe though? What do I think? What do I know? So that's what it's helped me to do.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Many of us have had horrific experience of life. Let's take, for instance, people that have had bad breakups. If you've ever experienced that, you may have had that some time ago. But just because you had that bad breakup does not mean that you can't have a loving relationship that you deserve. Empowerment can influence you to do things that you never thought were possible. Empowerment is like the superhero that has the power to get through all the enemies in life. And when I say enemies, the lie, like Trish was talking about, that you believed about yourself, when you start caving into those thoughts, that's a disempowerment. That's like Spider-Man trying to go up against his rival without the spider web that he needs. Or like Batman not using his artillery because, why? Because he's been disempowered by the Joker. Everyone get what I'm saying here? So I need you today to think about breakthroughs, what they use to break through. We all have the tools to break through. It's going to be how we use them, because that disempowerment is the opposite of empowering. It makes you stuck in your beliefs. How many times have you told yourself you weren't good enough? I'm just going to start with that. More times than you can count. You see, I want you to build a strategy that you will gain empowerment. Sometimes we are triggered because of our past experience, but I want you to have the desire to be able to hunger for something better than what you thought about yourself in the past, disempowering yourself. I want you to have a breakthrough by making a list of things that you do right. If you want to be strong enough, that is your breakthrough. How many times have you experienced that? I want you to be able to empower yourself. How do you do it? By your mental and emotional state. One of the ways that we must empower ourselves is by saying these words. That you forgive yourself for all the hurtful things that you have said about yourself. See, because when you first start listening to Vibe Talk, maybe you were not in the best emotional state. When you started to listen and started to realize that your lion awakens when you start to face it and you start to acknowledge it. See, it changes. I want you to be able to know that you are better than the you before. You've learned how to look at your life as challenges that you've been going through. And all the while you've been going through them, you won't even give yourself credit for the healing journey that you have been on thus far. So today, the first step of strategy is to inhale and exhale and think about all the things that you have said to yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I will never be enough. Nobody can love me. I want you to start thinking about forgiving the way that you have beat that into yourselves. And I want you to filter things out. What is a filter? Anybody know? We must separate the negative from the positive. We filter out. We don't mix it in together. So we now know that we can filter out the good, the challenging, and the not so good. We can take it and we can divide it into three parts. Let's say cups. Remember we talk about what's in your cup. You can put whatever is in your cup because whatever's in that cup is going to pour out into you, onto someone else. But because you are the holder of that cup, you're responsible to filter out the things that you don't want. We've talked about that. Why do you not want that? Because now you have a new way of looking at yourself. Have you discovered that? Have you been able to really think about your change that you have been on? For those of you who are not there yet, I promise you that you can get there because your mind, only you can control that. No one else. Stress. How many people are stressed right now? If you're stressed, I want you to look at you. You're stressed. And ask yourself, what is stressing me out so much that it depletes me? It rids me of all the joy that I could have in life. You know, some of us worry about bills, the bills we have to pay. Some of us worry about our children. If we're parents, we do that quite frequently. While others of us are worried about what's going to happen to us. I want you right now to think about your breathing. Can you hear it? Now I'm going to ask you if you can feel those breaths of life that are running through your entire body. I want you to take a big whiff of the breath that exists in you right now. And release it. How do you feel now? Well, you may have had a big whiff of life, and then as you've had the big whiff of life, you are now being able to get relieved. Because before I said that, maybe you weren't realizing your breath that you just breathe. So your body has had a shift in the way you are feeling right now and the way that you may have thought. So what are you focused on? What are you focusing on right now? Some people may be focused on the last thing that happened 5 minutes ago, or the thing that happened yesterday, or even as late as last night. But I want you to join me in the present time. And I want you to think about all the things that you've been able to focus on and how far you've gotten. Many of us are creative. We are creative thinkers, creatively thoughtful. Did you see the word change? It means the same. Creative thinking, creatively thoughtful. And we don't go as far as our nose. But I want to tell you something. You are brilliant. Whatever you're focused on right now, it affects your mental and your emotional state. Challenge yourself to get out and get past that creative thinking. And I want you to be a creative doer. Thinking and doing are two different things. Sometimes we undermine our ability. We need to be able to sustain ourselves by learning to put ourselves in the peak of a cloud and the sun's rising. Everyone get that? You're the peak just before the sunrise. If you're an early riser, you've witnessed that. I want you to be in that peak. Just before you start that, wow, look at that sunrise. And notice I use the word rise. The greatest gift that you can give yourself and be able to transform your story of how you broke through is to challenge all your breakthroughs. Focus. I want you to be able to, when people say, wow, how did you get through it? We want you to be able to tell your story. Because you are not that in what you were even a month ago. And if you're still feeling like there are no changes to be had, I will challenge you by asking you to come and have a full session with me. I want you to be able to look at the things that you can do as change. Many people have changed many things. Think about how many things you've changed in your life. You may have just changed your bedroom around. You may have just changed the way that you are reacting to certain things in your life. Are your breakthroughs going to be easy? Easy, yes. I want you to think about major breakthroughs. You see, a major breakthrough is different from a small breakthrough. Right now, something that you believe about yourself that is not true, I want you to take that and I want you to think about, what is my strategy going to be that is not true? Because we all have that. You say you're not good enough in comparison to who or what. And when did you start feeling like that? That's the first lie. Because every one of us are good at something. Contrary to what people have said. Contrary to what people have believed. We are good enough. And I'm not saying that to be saying that. I want you to understand the seriousness of why that's being said. I'll be right back. Why did we say that? When did we start to acknowledge ourselves as the scum of the earth? Because that's the lie. Stop believing the lie. When do we stop believing the lie? Right here, right now. I want you to think about the one thing that you have done that made you believe that you could do it. Was there something in your life that you could do, but you didn't really have much faith in it, and you did it, and you're so proud of yourself? That is what I mean about the cloud and the sunrise. You're that middle because you peeked through, you've broken through the lie that says you're not good enough, you can't do it, you'll never be able to do it. I want you to be able to be that sunrise peak. And for those of you who are early risers, you know what happens in your life? You start to change how you feel and think, and your actions start to be different. Something recently happened to me, and I thought, wow, what if that really happened? And it happened. Can I tell you what? I survived it. Trish, have you ever been there before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. And how did it make you feel to know that you have survived something or you could go through something? How did you feel and what was it that you went through, if you care to share?
Um, Something that I went through that I felt so great, that I survived it, was the first thing I can think of was when my school caught on fire. That's the
Mhm.
first thing that I can think of right now. And
Wow.
I felt so great that me and nobody else got hurt. I felt so great that I survived because I remember how worried my mom and my dad was. They were freaking out, but that's natural because they're my parents. But I felt so great that I survived that. I was like, you know what? I didn't have to, but I did. And that just made me be more grateful for me living. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Acknowledge. Acknowledgement is nothing but awareness. How many of you, when you are faced with health issues, loss of income, grief. How many of you have acknowledged this? Or you're still at that cloudy point where you say, I don't know how I'm going to make it. You're still stuck on that. If this has happened to you as recently as early this week, it is now Friday. I want you to think about that you have made it. Or if you've been through a hurt as recently as Monday morning, you've made it today. You've broken through. Many people are silent about the things that they've gone through, and that's okay, because you don't have to tell everybody what you've been through, but here's something that will help you along when you are at a setback or breakdown. When you say that you broke through. What did you break through? The pain, the overwhelmingness that you may have had Monday morning. You made it. Choose to deal with it. Why do I say that? Because it takes you to your purpose of being. You've survived it. We talked about forgiveness of yourself, allowing you to move forward. Your goals. How many goals have you made that you have stuck to? You know, we all say we're going to do something. And if you're like me, I am a procrastinator. That should have been my middle name. But my mother settled for Denise. I'm okay with that. But I am a procrastinator, and I acknowledge that because I realize that because I do things at the last minute, I may have lost out on an opportunity. So no matter what it is, I want you to recommit this day, even if it is to help yourself be challenged, to find a breakthrough. Commit or recommit. And then I want you to think about how long you want to stay committed to something, whatever it is. If it's forever, that's okay too. I want you to recommit, because goals and strategy are a lot of helping you to help yourself. You must have a goal and you must know how. The strategy is knowing how. You know, we all have ways that we do things, and no three of us do it alike. Somebody is going to do something different than the way that we're used to doing it. So what do? We design what works for us. You know, there's a lot of people who go to the gym. I'm not one of them. Why am I not one of them? Because every time you go, it becomes a dating service. I'm not there for that purpose. So if I'm going to do any exercise, it's going to be in my own home. But maybe that is in place for you to go to the gym, and it isn't for you. You haven't had that experience, or maybe you have, and it doesn't interfere with you. I'm working on me, and I therefore ask that you work on you. You see what may work for you? Just because it's not what I do doesn't mean that it shouldn't be what you do, because many people enjoy the gym. I want you to become consistent with whatever works for you.
I can relate to
Breaking.
that.
Go ahead, Trish. Go jump right in. Go ahead.
I was I was gonna say I can relate to that because since we're talking about working out, my workout is different from my sister and my brother's workout. And my workout is more of like a Zumba dance workout, you know what I'm saying? That's my kind of workout. And they look at my workout and they say, that looks silly. How does that even work? And sometimes I shy away because I'm like, oh, it looks silly to them. Is it silly? And when I try to do their kind of workout, right? And it's not for me. It's really not. It makes me feel unhappy to do it the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
So I stick to my workout. I stick to mine. And I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Thank you for that. See that sharing. Thank you so much for that. Here's another thing. In your day, as your days have went by, can you name 5 things that you have accomplished this week? Or was it all so distracting? You know, someone begins to start working on something and they're interrupted by things. That happened to me one time this week, but I was able to stay focused. Do we easily get distracted? Are we unable to finish what we want to break through from? And our breakthroughs could be something as little as accomplishing ourselves professionally. We need to get things on a deadline. Some of us, you know, people schedule their lives. I hate schedules. I know, I'm a life coach. I shouldn't say that. But I schedule appointments when people meet with me. I have doctor's appointments. But I always feel like it's so rigid. But schedules are good because they keep you organized. And they're going to help you based upon your life and your needs. You know, my life switches. I could be in one place and I get a call, a crisis call. And I have to pick that up because I'm committed to my life coaching work. So I need a schedule. So I want you to think about addressing your needs. Don't leave yourself. You are important. You are the target of your own breakthrough. Even if you feel like you have failed your breakthrough, I want you to still stand up, rise up, get up, come a little closer. Even if you fall during your challenge or breakthrough, I want you to stand up, rise up, and get up. Life is all about learning. And when you fight the challenge or when you take the challenge and accept that challenge of life to break through, you start believing in yourself no matter what you faced. Some of those lions are so ferocious in life. We're talking about life. When you go throughout your days and your weeks, just look at your breakthrough. Right there. From Monday to Friday, you have broken through whatever it is that challenges you. Breaking through. I want you to think about today. Today provides for you change. You can change your strategy, you can change your story, and you can change your state of mind. The only person that gets in the way of your breakthroughs are you. So get yourself yourself out of the way. Stop limiting yourself. Stop telling yourself how hard it's going to be. And you'll see. That's why we have finally Friday as a wake-up call, because when you get to Friday and you look back, a whole week has gone through. What have you done to challenge yourself? We're going to be right back with Trisha's Treasures. We'll be right back. So what do you need to change about that? You need to focus on yourself. How do we do that? We don't become blind to everything around us, but we have an incredible desire to help ourselves. You know how people say, may I help you? Ask yourself, may I help myself? Give yourself permission to help yourself. Because if you're always thinking about making the change, but never doing anything about it, you're never going to see that change. Facing the lion is always positive. And so I ask you today, as we are going to be facing our lions or challenges of the week, what did you face this week? It was challenging. We're back. And before we go to Trisha's Treasures, I really want you to think about creating ways to break through. And that's just it. All of us are unique individuals. We find ways to create how we're going to do something, what works for us. How did you do it? You know, some of us find breakthrough through playing. And maybe you're playing so as to recreate yourself. We just talked about ways of doing exercise. I like Zumba, so I will go to that while other people think relaxing is just watching TV. Move around. Still others really don't take a moment to realize that there's life and breath inside of them, and they don't appreciate it, so they don't have a moment to take a step back and think about what's going on. Staying positive and always find your people. You know, people say their tribe, which means they're people that they resonate with. A lot of people come here and they resonate because they know that we're talking about improvement of yourself. Find your people. And as long as you're positive or they're positive, stick with those positive people. You might have to change up and change that way. There are many things, but I will give Trish her time for Trish's Treasures. Trish?
Speaking of breakthrough, 2 weeks ago, I recorded the sunrise. I recorded it, slowly rising. That's what I recorded. It's called Catching the Sunrise. You'll see it under my Trish's Treasures on our page, Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. I have my own section there. And I did that video with another video following after called Your Reminder to Live. And I thought that was a perfect topic because the reason why I got up to take a video of the sunrise, for one, I haven't done that before. And number two, I thought, you know what? People don't wake up as early as me. And everybody doesn't wake up as early as I do. And I thought, probably they're wondering, how does the sunrise look? So I'm going to do it because maybe when I'm having a bad day, I can look at that and say, you know what? This is your reminder to get up every day, to live every day, to look at the creation, the wonderful creations God has made, and to keep going, to keep trying to find your breakthrough, your strength of living. And
good morning, Marvin.
So that's what that video was talking about. And breakthroughs are such a motivation for me to keep going, to keep trying to find other ways to break through other things. And it's a beautiful experience because when I feel low, it doesn't seem like the breakthrough is possible. But when the breakthrough happens, it's like, oh, that's a new way of thinking. That was different, but a good kind of different. When my mindset is like, I don't think that this is going to work for me. It's not working for me. But when I keep going, I see the sun coming from the clouds. I can finally see it. And like we talked about, whatever works for me is not going to work for you, and whatever works for you might not work for me. But we have the same goal, which is to reach our success, to reach our accomplishments, to reach our breakthrough. So whatever works for you, find what works for you. Discover that within you. Like our question that we always ask, what do we discover about ourselves? Discover what works for you that helps you accomplish what you need to accomplish mentally, and sometimes physically and emotionally. Whatever works for you, find out what works for you and that is healthy for you. Find your breakthrough and you can make it to your breakthrough. I believe in you.
That's lion power. So when we think about breakthrough, what stops you? Did you know that you're probably closest to your breakthrough? Good morning, Williams. And we want you to know to stop getting in your own way. When you walk, when you think, when you breathe, when you sleep, be intentional about it. That means that don't apologize for those things because those are acknowledgement, awakeness, awareness, and you're being able to take control of your own life and find the breakthrough throughout all of your challenges, whether they be on a weekly basis, a daily basis. You are closer than you think. I'd like to thank my co-host, Trish. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank all of you who participate. Marvin is with us now. Thank you, Marvin. If you want to hear more of Vibe Talk, we're streaming everywhere on Spotify and wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We hope to be one of them. Also, If for any reason you were with me on Saturday night, 8 p.m. California time, okay, just remember that for Vibe Talk After Dark, all about music and your dedication and request. You can start doing that now. Let's say you experience a brief muting. You can hear us in its entirety on Spotify and iHeartRadio. The entire show is there. We'll start from our Facebook. Okay, sometimes they mute us, sometimes they don't. But don't worry, you have not lost us. Just get yourself iHeartRadio and Spotify. You'll hear from us then. You can still call in as well on our Vibe Talk Direct Connect. Our final question: what did you learn and discover about yourself during today's podcast on challenging yourself through with breakthroughs? Trish?
I learned that me having breakthroughs, even when I felt like it wasn't possible, is very important, and it is my reminder to keep going and be resilient when I am facing a challenge. And my feeling for today was empowering. I felt very empowered today and motivated.
And for those who are listening in, you can also put your thoughts as well. Please join our YouTube page where it's set up beautifully for information for you, as well as your commenting. And today's question is: what challenges have you been faced with, either now or in the past? I learned from today's podcast that everyone has a breakthrough. Some of us are not aware of our breakthrough. Hi, Twixie, and where are you listening in from? Please and thank you. If you've got a blue link at the top of your left-hand side, please click on that, and you'll be right at our YouTube page. Some of you it's clickable, some of you it's not. The reason why, because we want to grow our YouTube page. Please join us. Thank you so much. Please join us tomorrow night for our celebration in music. And you can put in your request. You can message us, text message us, and leave us a voicemail on our pages, or directly in message us at 661-503-8993. I challenge you to be the best version of yourself. Thank you for joining us, and have a great, amazing, safe weekend. It's hard for me because I'm not focused on me. So what do you need to change about that? You need to focus on yourself. How do we do that? We don't become blind to everything around us, but we have an incredible desire to help ourselves. You know how people say, may I help you? Ask yourself, may I help myself? Give yourself permission to help yourself. Before we go, Marvin writes, I have a lot more breakdowns than breakthroughs, but I guess it's part of the process. Marvin, you came in the middle, and I would love for you to replay this just as soon as we're off air, right on our Facebook page, and see about the more breakthroughs than breakdowns. Talked about that as well. And you are always welcome to call me from our direct connect number 661-503-8993. Have a good day, everyone.